Brought to you by...
Film is an exploratory form of creation that often focuses on the analysis of situations in which many of us has to face in some form. What's more interesting is when filmmakers choose to excavate the deeper situational tragedies that we often only find in our nightmares. The pain of regret, the depth of loss, and the effects that these have upon who we are and reveal to us what we are capable of. Hello friends, welcome back to ETF. Beyond the impact of tragedy, we are forced to face a part of ourselves that we may never have known existed. Some of us can put the pain behind us and move on, beginning to rebuild soon after our losses, while others become something else, a darker form of ourselves, a contrast to the person that our loved ones know. This is the case with Becky, a spunky and rebellious girl who is brought to a weekend getaway at a lake house by her father Jeff in an effort to try and reconnect. The trip immediately takes a turn for the worst when a group of convicts on the run, led by the merciless Dominic, suddenly invade the lake house, descending us into a night of violence and agony. Visually presented in a stunning blend of wide, smooth cinematography and kinetic handheld footage, that when combined with a score that mixes contemporary music tracks with its orchestral composition in a way that 90s films once did, it creates an immersive and captivating experience. The score itself crafts the film's ambience from strong and foreboding synth leads, which entangle them with a rhythm of recorded breathing elements that at moments erupts into a maelstrom of tension that fully steals your attention and immerses you into the dread of what is unfolding on screen. Kevin James creates a performance in this film to which I have never expected to see from him. His ominous and chilling presence is a grimly intelligent and imposing force, especially when placed against the weak and underwhelming stature of Becky. Lulu Wilson creates a character who is cold, vindictive, and filled with pain and hate, which at first we look at in the context of a relatable, angsty teen girl with a chip on her shoulder, but over the course of the film gain a whole new perspective on. It became very clear to me that this was a film focusing on the idea of contrast in many facets. We see this through character, with our antagonist being this cold, calculating presence, while Becky plays for a more harsh, animalistic fight-or-flight response. We also see this through relationships, given that Becky is at odds with her father and stepmother, while tension arises between Dominic and his followers as one of them showcases doubts and reservations about their actions. Visually, the contrast is represented in wardrobe, putting Dominic and his followers in dull, neutral colors and aggressive colors like reds and oranges, while Becky wears brighter, more soft tones of yellow and orange. We're introduced to this narrative through a series of match cuts that build a strong relation between our protagonist, a young, rebellious, and vindictive girl who carries the pain of loss with her wherever she goes, and our antagonist, a vicious and ominous neo-Nazi cult figure. Though this, early on, we don't yet understand why it is being done, these match cuts and transitions continue throughout the film, maintaining that connection between the two as we slowly are made to realize how formidable each of them is. As Becky's rage builds, she adopts this fox beanie, bringing a bit of the aggressive orange into her own wardrobe, and symbolically adopting the animalistic persona. Over the course of the film, we watch as Becky loses everything, the last of her remaining connections to the world being snuffed out with her mother passing away before the events of the film began, and her father being ripped from her life by the invading force of these criminals, forcing her to surrender herself to a violent state of revenge, which also leads to a series of brutal and inventive kills, the likes of which I have not seen prior to this, utilizing childhood implements like broken rulers and colored pencils as tools of destruction. Early on, at the very start of this film, we witness Becky sitting outside a convenience store. Hanging over her is a street sign that simply reads the word "End." To me, this personified everything that would follow, signifying to us as the audience a road mark in Becky's life. From here on out, we would witness Becky's descent into a much darker place, the end of the life she knew, and the childhood that she had lost, as well as the loss of her innocence. From here on out, she would be forced to grow up under the most extreme circumstances. This was a film that told a small, focused section of a story. We're given many details and elements that beg for further exploration. Sure, we would all love to know more about Dominic and what that key was for, but those elements are not the story that this film is aiming to tell. It's my opinion that this film is aiming only to create a situation where the innocence of a child is lost, abandoned when faced against overwhelming odds, in an isolated incident of true situational horror. Hey friends, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video and you would like to see more like it, please consider supporting ETF on Patreon, where every donation goes toward making new content for your enjoyment. But that's going to be all for now. Until next time, stay safe and keep embracing film.